Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. It means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp, and fired up. You're here with us working towards the weekend. If you've reached the finish line, fired up for you. If not, we'll get you there here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob Beck and Jordan Kitchens back there on the ones and twos, and plenty to do here on this Friday. Of course, got to talk to Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. We do that every single Friday at 1:15. Get you ready for the NFL slate to come. Fantasy football playoffs are upon us, so we'll get to some of that. Heisman thoughts. They'll award that trophy coming up tomorrow. New York City. LSU getting some transfer portal additions, potentially. Jaden Daniels going to the Superdome, and LSU and SMU on the hardwood from Dallas. We'll talk with Dean Rolski, who covers SMU 4 on 3. We'll do that an hour and a half from right now. Plus, some take it or leave it, and some other things that may happen throughout the show. We'll start the same way we start each and every day, and that is, of course, with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Big news today from LSU as they announced via press release, and Brian Kelly spoke about it, is that Brian Kelly and his wife Pocky have created a $1 million match. And what that means is from now until the first week in February, every dollar that LSU receives for Bayou Traditions Football Fund, Brian Kelly and Pocky Kelly will match up to $1 million to LSU athletics. Now, there are a lot of layers to this that are interesting to me. First of all, everyone has always said, in terms of paying college athletes, if one person says there's not enough money to pay all these guys, one of the immediate counters is look at the coaches' salaries and look at the coaches' buyout. There is money. It needs to be dispersed more evenly. That's generally a cry from those who suggest there is money to pay the college athletes. And I didn't necessarily see a bunch of coaches running to the forefront to accept less money so that their players could make more. That wasn't an immediate reaction to name, image, and likeness becoming legal. And this is not Brian Kelly taking less money, but it is a strategic play on two different fronts. One, it shows his generosity and his commitment to LSU. And this is not new. Brian Kelly and his wife also gave money back in 2022, $1 million, toward the facility that the student athletes use there for performance, nutrition, all that. He donated a handful of times to Notre Dame, including $250,000 in 2010 toward a cancer research arm at Notre Dame. So this is not some brand new thing he's just cooked up to try to get more players. Brian Kelly and his wife, Pocky, have done this in the past. However, in this instance, the money comes with a clear message, and it's one that Brian Kelly has talked about a lot. We'll first hear it from Brian Kelly, and then I'll go further into this donation and kind of the effects of it. This is Brian Kelly from earlier today.
Well, I figured that after my last press conference where I pretty much challenged the entire LSU fan base that if they wanted to continue to have a championship program, that they needed to understand that there's a financial responsibility as well, that I needed to put my money where my mouth was and be part of that as well. And so that's the genesis of that relative to the $1 million. So my wife and I are going to match up to $1 million, new monies that are donated through NIL that are earmarked for football, so we can be competitive in that space. I thought that it should start with me and then continue to work through all the other avenues that are available to us.
It's admirable any way you slice it for Brian Kelly. I know he signed for $100 million. So one is, a tenth of that. No, sorry, 100th of that, a tenth of his annual salary. I get that. But still, it's $1 million that Brian Kelly is putting into the university. And there is a rule from the NCAA that prohibits coaches from directly contributing money to collectives or student athletes. So what Brian Kelly is doing is he says, hey, if you contribute to the student athletes in our collective for our football players, I will help you on the other end with LSU athletics as a whole. Because he's not allowed to go directly to football, but he is allowed to donate his own money to the university's athletic programs. And that's what he's doing. And while it is incredibly generous, and I want to lead with that, it really is, it also sends a message that, hey, we do need your money. And I'm part of this. And in a sense, it is a little bit of a coach cutting his money to help pay on the back end. And it's a challenge in the same way. And I think that LSU fans will hear this. I think those of you who listen to me regularly understand that I very rarely use this term. I would say maybe once a month. Maybe once a month, I say, I had a conversation with someone who would know, and this is what I learned. I say that about once a month. Y'all listen to me. Y'all know that I'm not some sort of insider who's breaking news and has the scoop, and that's just not necessarily where I am at this point in my career as I do this job. That day may come, but it's not today. I have relationships at LSU. I get a paycheck from LSU on football season. Like, I rarely go, inside sources are telling me this. But I did have a conversation this week, and I can tell you that LSU has raised a lot of money for the football program through the collective in the last 30 days. That's not some report I'm reading from somewhere else. That's not someone in the media told me this. That comes from over there, okay? They're doing very, very well with fundraising, but it's got to continue. And that message has to continue to ring true. And if you are Brian Kelly and you know that part of your job is being a fundraiser, and that is part of his job now. Maybe it always was, but more so now. It's very difficult to go to the same people who are helping pay you $100 million over 10 years saying, hey, I need more. Like, thanks for that, but we got to have a left tackle. So where's some more money? It's easier to have that conversation if Brian Kelly goes to that donor and says, hey, you've done very well. I've done very well. I can't help with this on this end, but I can do this. And this is the example that I need y'all to follow if we want to do this together. And that's a conversation that, quite frankly, I'm confident he didn't think he was ever going to have when he got into coaching 35 years ago at Assumption or wherever it was. Like, did you ever think at that point in the 80s that you were going to have to go to a donor and say, I know I make $100 million. You've got a lot too. We have to pay all our players like $8, $9, $10, $20 million in total to keep this team relatively competitive with Georgia and Texas A&M, relatively competitive with Miami and Ohio State, who we fancy ourselves as competitive with on the national scale. Like, we have to continue to pay that money. Like, that's a tough conversation to have, but it becomes easier once you show, hey, I'm willing to do this. And I think it's admirable. I think, and look, I'm trying to be as level-headed as I can here. I think there is a pie. There's a pie graph. And when you suggest, why is Brian Kelly giving this $1 million to Tiger Athletics? There's a piece of the pie that's just understanding the financial position he's put himself in through decades of hard work and the obligation or the opportunity, however you want to look at it, to give back. That's obviously there. It was there back 14 years ago when he gave $250,000 to Notre Dame for cancer research. That didn't help him get a wide receiver. There is that element to it. There's an element of, I need to motivate the fan base. There's an element of, I need to put my money where my mouth is. And there's an element of, this is my last chance to win a national championship. This is the only way. And how that pie breaks out, it doesn't really matter. It just is what it is. And again, we're going to find out over the next 2 weeks just how game LSU is. This is a new world for this football program. As of 5 months ago, I'm confident the football program believed we can do this, signing a bunch of 4- and 5-star kids every single December. And at some point, whether that was getting beat on the field, whether that was starting too many freshmen this year, whether that was Bryce Underwood pulling the rug out at the 11th hour, somewhere along the line, they figured out, nope, we got to change the way we're operating. And they're trying to do it a little bit on the fly, and this is part of that. Again, I'm told things are going really well over there. But the proof has to be in the pudding. Because if you have a big war chest of money and it just stays full, it's pretty worthless in this instance. You're not accruing interest over there that's going to be beneficial to anybody. The money has to go into the war chest and come out of the war chest. LSU got a signature from Bauer Sharp today. That's one. And I said this yesterday on my show. I said we will very likely have a commitment in the next 24 hours and certainly through the weekend. And I still feel that way. I don't think Bauer Sharp is the end. I think it's very much the beginning. But you're going to have to see that as these visits happen, as these NIL offers are made, and as you continue to play ball. I think Garrett Nussmeier was part of playing ball. Brian Kelly talked about that today, saying they thought they put a pretty good NIL opportunity in front of him. But you got to keep going. You got Bauer Sharp at tight end. Got to keep going. Looks like you're probably going to get a center. Got to keep going. Looks like you're probably going to get a wide receiver. Got to keep going. Looks like you're probably going to get a cornerback. Got to keep going. And I'm going to talk about all this in the second hour. But I think Brian Kelly today did something very, very admirable. I thought it was creative from LSU's perspective. And the question is, how effective will it be? Will it spur, whether it's very, very wealthy donors or the grassroots effort, hundreds of dollars at a time with thousands of people at a time, to keep filling that war chest up to go get football players? Gone are the days where you as a season ticket holder and you as the booster can sit back and just hope that the team gets some good players. You have to be part of that now. And that's a difficult thing to hear, and some people are against it. It does not change the reality. And I thought Brian Kelly today took a good step for LSU, and I think you're probably, in one way or another, going to see other coaches doing this, whether they copy this model, saying, hey, you give $1 million, I'll give $1 million over here, or theoretically, you could see a day where a coach says, instead of agreeing to take a $7.8 million salary, I'll take 7 straight up, and we'll put that $800,000 in the war chest because I need players and I can't do this without them. That day remains to be seen. Today, we saw Brian Kelly start his way. That's our opening drive presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge. Come back with Preston Guy, TigerBait.com on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. If you're doing some traveling over the holidays and you don't want to put a bunch of miles on your car, what about a Genesis? It could be your opportunity to get behind the wheel of a make and model that you've never driven before. It could be a great opportunity to introduce yourself to this incredible line of Genesis vehicles. Stop by the dealership today. Airline at PQ. Check them out this weekend. Say, hey, looking to head over to Houston, looking to head over to the beach for Christmas, whatever the case, going to North Louisiana, don't really want to put a bunch of miles on my car. What can you do for me? They may be able to help you out over at Genesis of Baton Rouge. If you want to make a purchase, every car on the lot comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and 3 years of complimentary maintenance. It's just part of being a Genesis driver. They're new to the game over there at Airline and PQ, just across from Women's Hospital. Go check them out. It's Genesis Baton Rouge, online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Join Rouse's Markets on Saturday, December 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at all stores for their Taste of the Holidays event. You can sample Rouse's family recipes and festive holiday treats for free. Everything from their famous turducken sausage, whole stuffed chickens, to mini muffalettas, Rouse's signature sides, and irresistible handmade delights from the bakery. It's the Taste of the Holidays at all Rouse's locations. Saturday, December 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rouse's Markets, official supermarket of the Saints.
Own a European car? Vex European has lowered their basic maintenance cost on most European models, starting at $99, and this promo's here to stay. Exceptional care at a more affordable price. Plus, no long waits. Book today, Get service tomorrow. Visit VexEuropean.com.
This season, let Hooters put the happy in your holidays. For the perfect holiday party, grab wings to go or host at Hooters and let us do the work. Plus, Hooters gift cards, perfect for everyone on your list. And for a limited time, when you buy a $25 card, you get $5 in bonus bucks. Look, you need a break from all the hustle and bustle? Head to Hooters for $19.99 snow crab legs. Wild caught, steamed to perfection, and served with a side of butter. Hooters crab legs are guaranteed to make you happy. 'Tis the season for Hooters.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's your last chance to snag Dell Technologies' lowest prices of the year before the holidays. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. This is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
News is happening all day, filling your feed. Go beyond the headlines with in-depth coverage on WBRZ News 2 at 6. Michael Shingleton and Sylvia Weatherspoon deliver the most local news in the capital area, exclusive investigative unit reports, and problem-solving two-on-your-side solutions. Your storm station forecast, everywhere, first, and insider coverage of your home teams. See why more people are turning to WBRZ News 2 at 6. Investigative, in-depth.
Baton Rouge, feel the heat. Baton Rouge Zydeco Hockey is among the top teams fighting for the championship. Tickets start at just $10. Don't miss the action, the hits, and the roar of the crowd. Grab yours at brzydeco.com. Let's go Zydeco.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. We'll preview LSU and SMU tomorrow from Dallas. Actually, not from Dallas, from Frisco. Part of a fake home and home between LSU and SMU. LSU will travel to Frisco for Saturday's game. SMU will return that trip next year over in New Orleans. Big matchup for LSU and the Mustangs. Last chance in non-conference play for LSU to play a Power 5 team. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Talking some football, Preston Guy, TigerBait.com right now. Preston, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, Hunt. How are you? Just a slow little portal week.
It's a lot. It is. I just don't feel like I can sit down on the couch without my phone blowing up from a tweet or a guy going in or somebody going out, or it's just it's a lot. How are you reacting to all the comings and goings at this point?
Oh, Hunt, the thing is that this time of year there's so much moving on behind the scenes and so much woulda, coulda, shouldas, and it seems like every player that enters the portal, it seems like every fan base is in that comment section saying, "Oh, this would be perfect for us. Oh, he's a Sooner. Oh, he's a Tiger," and it's just a lot of wild movement that, frankly, goes down very quickly. But, it's a little different this time of year, especially with LSU's getting a lot more aggressive in the portal than they were a year ago. There's a lot more funding devoted to it, and I think that coaches feel a lot of pressure to use the portal to make a team that can compete for the playoffs next year. And there's a lot of holes that need to be filled to get there.
Is there a departure, before we get to the potential additions or positions, is there a departure that surprised you or concerns you most?
CJ Daniels, I think, is the one that you look at the most so, and you're like, well, that stinks. There's a handful of other guys, but the way I look at it, Hunt, so 19 players exited LSU and went to the portal last year. If you had to guess without just looking this up, how many of those ended up as starters at their new school a year ago?
6.
How about 2?
I mean, yeah. And I don't even know where they all went, so yeah.
Well, right, of course. And I mean, it's not a thing until I looked up the other day and I was like, saw someone posted about it. I was like, man, so really it was Lance Hurd was one of the 2 guys who actually was a starter. And, even him, he ranked toward the bottom in the Pro Football Focus numbers on their offensive line.
Yeah.
So, it tends to be one of those things of like, yeah, you're going to lose some guys. Most of them are going to be depth pieces. And there's not really too much that you're losing that truly concerns me.
What about Deshaun Womack? What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I'm hearing that he was not fitting in very well. I heard there were some attitude concerns, and there were certain road trips this team made while he was healthy. He didn't even make the trip with the team.
Right.
So, those are all pretty big red flags. I'm told by some people from behind the scenes that, that was a good thing for him to hit the portal. LSU will be a better team for it. So, you hate to talk too negatively about a kid, but
right.
That is kind of the scuttlebutt around him. And, I guess a lot of fans, their concerns, the concerns of losing a former 5-star get a little compounded when he ends up at Mississippi, Ole Miss, I should say. But ultimately, I was just hearing it's not cutting out. It's not working out for him here at LSU. And if he's a problem with the culture, then it's hard to debate that LSU would be better off without him.
All right, let's talk about what LSU needs to do in the transfer portal. They get Bauer Sharp today, and Brian Kelly was actually allowed to talk about Bauer Sharp at tight end. That was obviously a must. You can comment. I guess we'll start there. What do you think about Bauer Sharp and where LSU is at tight end right now?
Well, we're talking about a guy who caught 42 balls in that Oklahoma offense, and we saw firsthand just how anemic that offense was for Oklahoma. So really good, big body, athletic guy. A guy who's going to come in and compete with Trey Green to be the starting tight end. And, you need Kamorian Pimpton hitting the portal. That's probably the second most concerning behind C.J. Daniels. But, you need someone else to complement Trey Green. This is not a one tight end offense. It just is not, especially Trey kind of taking on some of the roles of almost like a receiver at times, not being a true blocker. Bauer Sharp will be a better blocker than him. But, outside of tight end, tight end definitely became a concern because you're down to one guy and J.D. LaFleur coming in, who's a developmental prospect guy. I don't think he's a year one plug-and-play starter at tight end. You needed a tight end or two. And I think they're still going to be talking to some tight ends, and we'll see. But I think offensive line, especially now that Emory Jones is formally in the portal, that's a concern. You need 4 starters out of somewhere. Right, whether you're returning depth chart, your offensive line class, or the portal, I would say you probably going to need a starter from each at least. So a lot of work to be done on that front. Much worse so than tight end.
What about wide receiver right now when you look at the situation where LSU's still got some players there that have played a lot with Thomas and then Anderson and probably Hilton and then Parker and Jelani Watkins? Like you have 5 or 6 guys, but what needs to be done there?
Yeah, you need quality, not quantity at receiver. I think you've got your bodies. Shelton Sampson hits the portal. I think we all had that writing on the wall. It's been 2 years, and he had every opportunity to show out, especially this year with all the injuries, and just showed you nothing. So I think that the writing was on the wall there. I think you need to get a guy who's got a chance to be wide receiver 1. Now, I feel good about LSU's opportunity with the Kentucky wide receiver, Berrien Brown.
Yeah.
I was feeling good about Micah Hudson, but here's the thing with LSU in their portal. LSU is getting aggressive and is investing in getting good players here for the portal. They want them. But, when a school like Texas comes in and, they get these just wild prices that they're willing to invest, LSU just steps away because LSU does have finite funds. And if a school's willing to pay a ridiculous amount of money, LSU is taking the attitude of, look, there's plenty of other good players that we can get at a better value. And that's kind of the direction they're going. And I think that makes it tough for a guy like Micah Hudson when a school like Texas jumps in. So We'll see. I would like Barry and Brown, but I would say they probably need two guys that are of the upper echelon of quality receivers in the portal.
To me, one of the top needs on this team is guys that can rush the passer. I look at what LSU's got on the roster right now, and I go, okay, Gabriel Relaford looks like a promising piece, and I actually do like the defensive tackle lineup right now with Guillory and the two freshmen that played this year, but they got to find somebody off the edge, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to have to add somebody, and there's a lot of names that they're floating out there right now. I do know there was a notable edge rusher looking like he might be heading to Colorado. LSU felt really good about their chances with him early on, a guy they recruited out of high school. It's Jaheim Otis. And I do know that one looks like it's not going anywhere anymore. Dion is the concern there, Colorado. But, they got to bring in some edge rushers for sure. That is a position where you were actually pretty good a year ago, and now you've lost so many players. You got to bring something in. You got to do something better there.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge deal. Even if you feel a little bit better about what Corey Raymond's bringing in the secondary and how they'll develop that, if you don't get after the passer, you're in a little bit of trouble there. As far as safety goes, let's talk about this safety in this bowl game because Sage Ryan is not going to play. He goes in the transfer portal. Is Deshaun Spears a guy you expect to see in the game against Baylor?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily know who else would even get that spot other than him. Especially with Kylan Jackson entering the portal. That's another guy who was a little surprising to see put his name out there, but you understand how these things go. But anyways, I think it's Deshaun Spears, and I think you'll get a good look as to whether he's set to be the guy or not next year. We'll see.
We got to talking about the portal there, and I kind of buried the lead, but not probably. The news of the week for LSU was that Garrett Nussmeier announced he's going to come back. What was your reaction to that, and what do you expect from him next year?
Yeah, I mean, look, certainly expected. Collective did good work to get him back in place. You got to think, if Nussmeier enters the portal, what ranking quarterback is he? I mean, is he not a top 5 portal guy? So,
there's no chance I could name 4 better.
Right, exactly. And you get what I mean? So you're talking about a 4,000-yard passer after the bowl game. He'll be a 4,000-yard passer. And a guy who showed some really good flashes of brilliance this year. There were moments where he could work on, and you look at the mistakes he made, and you sit there and you think, you can coach that. The problem's going to be you got to put a team around him. He needs this portal to build a team around him because he's not like a Jaden Daniels where you can plug him on a team full of, and not that Jaden Daniels was on a team full of bad players. I'm just saying Jaden Daniels can elevate a mediocre offense to be pretty good because he's a one-man army at times, right? With his ability to run. Now, Nussmeier doesn't have that ability to run and extend time. He needs an offensive line. He needs receivers who can catch the ball. And frankly, he needs a running game to where the offense can actually move and convert short yardage situations without having to rely on his arm. So, it's great that Nussmeier is coming back. I think it's the right decision for him. There was talk that he might be a fringe first rounder. I don't necessarily think I saw it based on what I watched this year, but it is a weak quarterback class. But from what I'm understanding, they're expecting it to be an even weaker class next year. So now he's got a chance to, if he steps his game up a little bit, which I looked at since 2011, all the quarterbacks who came back for their senior year. It's not just Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow who had better year. Danny Etling had a better year where he improved across the board.
Yeah.
Mettenberger improved across the board. I mean, senior quarterbacks who returned to LSU last 15 years have made some money for him. By the way, all 4 of those guys got drafted, by the way. So, pretty good results for these LSU senior quarterbacks once they stick around.
Regular season's in the rearview mirror. Preston, tell them where they can find you on YouTube. Still every Monday, or what's the story over on Tiger Day?
Yeah, we're gonna go every Monday until signing day in February, the final signing day. Which, who knows? Maybe LSU adds a quarterback. Then we'll have something to talk about. But just through the bowl game, and then you can catch me on the post game show after the bowl game. But after that, I will be taking I do take an off-season hiatus, but y'all can always catch up with my off-season writing on TigerBait.com.
And right here every Friday at 1:15. Preston, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, Hunt, take it easy.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Good enough to give us a little bit of time every single Friday. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. We'll take a timeout, come back and set the stage for the National Football League Sunday to come. Hopefully it's better than the Thursday night game we saw last night. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. See your Super Chevy dealers today.
At the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge, when it comes to hosting your meeting or event, we're in the business of saying yes. From our intimate boardrooms that can accommodate as few as a dozen people, to our extravagant ballroom that can host events for 500 people, the Renaissance Hotel wants to make your next event unforgettable. To book your next event, call the Renaissance Hotel today at 215-7000. That's 215-7000, 215-7000.
Well, why don't you just come right out and say it?
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the Jim's Firearms.net hotline at 499-1045.
Say what?
Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the Jim's Firearms.net hotline. Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com.
Squeeze every ounce of life out of every day. Memorize every sunset, every face you love, and climb every obstacle until you can't go higher. With Louisiana Blue, you're free to soar because you've got the compassion of the cross, the security of the shield, and the comfort of blue behind you. Live Louisiana. We've got you. Louisiana Blue. Louisiana True.
I'm Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. Medicare open enrollment runs from October 15th to December 7th. This is your once-a-year opportunity to make changes to your Medicare plan. Need support? The Senior Health Insurance Information Program can guide you through the process. Our team is trained to educate, counsel, and assist seniors and other Medicare beneficiaries in Louisiana so you can make the best decision for your health and budget. For additional help, call SHIP at 1-800-259-5300.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Senior Health Insurance Information Program.
With over 40 years in business representing the same manufacturer, Gulf Coast Office Products is committed to bringing Savin office equipment solutions to the Louisiana market. With flexible leasing programs available, Gulf Coast can accommodate your budget and customize invoicing requirements to help streamline your business. As official partners of LSU and ULL Athletics, Savin and Gulf Coast, with over 100 employees, care about our community and their customers. You're just one phone call away. 225-756-2644 for a free analysis. Gulf Coast Office Products.
River Parish Contractors is South Louisiana's leader in industrial construction and turnaround services. They employ loyal, local talent who are dedicated to quality projects that are safely executed on time and done your way. With River Parish Contractors, they can assist you with industrial projects that stay within budget and on schedule. What sets them apart is their ability to respond to get the job done right. Come take a tour of their impressive facility in St. John Parish or visit rpcontractors.com.
At Curbside, great burgers aren't just what we do, it's who we are. Catch the big game in our newly renovated backyard with over a dozen TVs. Enjoy ice-cold buckets of beer, craft frozens, and boozy milkshakes. Curbside has something for everyone. Visit Curbside today.
Christmas carols with Jake and James of Trash Rangers.
Frosty the Trash Man, call Trash Rangers.
Good Lord.
I can't believe y'all made me do this.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are bringing you the ultimate holiday gift with our Home for the Holidays sweepstakes. Imagine 2025 with your rent or mortgage covered up to $18,000. We're here to make your holidays a whole lot brighter. Just sign up at 1045ESPN.com and you could be living stress-free next year. The winner will be notified on December 20th, and we've also got some NFL games coming up this weekend. You can tune in on Sunday for an NFL Week 15 triple header. Head first to the Browns, who are hosting the Chiefs at noon, and then we'll go to the Bills and Lions at 3:05, and then the Packers and Seahawks at 7:20 for the night game there. Your home for the NFL is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I claimed the game last night wasn't very pretty, and then I got a text that just from Mike that said, you had the Rams in the under last night. It was a gorgeous game.
Yeah, I guess so.
That would be true. I didn't have either one.
No, I didn't
have the over or the Niner or who were they playing?
It was the Rams and 49ers.
Yeah. I had Deebo Samuel on my bench for fantasy. Playoffs have started this week.
I had Brock Purdy in my starting lineup.
Thought you didn't make the playoffs.
Actually, I made it, Hunt, by .4. I had the same record as another guy, but I had like 30 more points scored than him, so I snuck in.
And now you're not feeling so good about it because you had Brock Purdy, who scored how many? 3?
3, I think.
That's not going to get it done. Although my quarterback is a little banged up at the moment. I think Justin Herbert's going to play, but we'll see. All right, we do have a full slate of NFL games coming up on Sunday. Our time to get you ready for it. Let's rock and roll. All right, Tier 4, this is the bad football on Sunday that you probably don't want to watch unless it has huge fantasy implications for you. The Ravens are at the Giants. Tommy DeVito is going to start. The Giants' run defense, unless they're playing the Saints, is atrocious. They allow 5 yards per carry, and here comes Derrick Henry. I'm playing against Derrick Henry this week. I'm terrified. That's not good.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I appreciate all the thoughts and all the prayers. Cowboys are at the Panthers. The Panthers, breaking news, are favored for the first time in 34 games. They have not been favored since 2002 against Pittsburgh. Incidentally, Bryce Young, his quarterback rating since week 9, better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying. Maybe Bryce Young's better than Patrick Mahomes. Many people could be saying this. I'm probably not one of them.
I think it's a great observation.
Thank you for that, Coach McMahon. The Jets are at the Jaguars. This is still Tier 4 because it's a battle of 3 and 10s. In his last 5 starts, Mac Jones is averaging 145 yards per game passing. Not great. Tier 3, a little bit better, marginally better football here. The Bengals are at the Titans. Tennessee has the best pass defense in football. Jamar Chase, pretty good. He leads the NFL in yards, catches, and touchdowns. Something's got to give in that one in Nashville. The Chiefs are at the Browns. Patrick Mahomes has already been sacked more times this year than in any year in his career by 7 sacks. Chiefs offensive line not getting it done. Myles Garrett, he's on the other side. That could be an issue for Kansas City, who just hasn't looked great. The record is good. The eye test is not great for Kansas City this year. The Patriots are at the Cardinals. This wraps up Tier 3. The Cardinals have lost 3 in a row after they had won 4 in a row. They felt like they were squarely in the mix, especially with San Francisco slumping, but their postseason chance is just 9%. If the Cardinals lose to the Patriots, that dips to 2%, and they can just about turn the lights out in Phoenix. All right, Tier 2, this is some better football. 3 games in Tier 2 this week. The Dolphins are at the Texans. Tua Tagovailoa, 70+% completion percentage in 7 straight games. Only Joe Montana's 8 straight in 1989 are better in the history of the NFL. You know, completion percentage isn't everything, but Tua does a good job of getting the ball out, and the guys he throws it to are pretty fast. The Colts are at the Broncos. Matchup of horses here. The Colts are 6-7, and they have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. The Broncos, Sean Payton, if they win this game at home against the Colts, they have a 92% chance to make the playoffs. Just in, he's a pretty good coach, that Sean P. The Bucs are at the Chargers. This will wrap up Tier 2. Bucs have won 3 in a row. They have taken the lead in the NFC South over the Atlanta Falcons. The Chargers lost to Kansas City. They have not lost back-to-back games since weeks 3 and 4. It's been a good go for Jim Harbaugh and his crew. We'll see if they can win a home game against the Bucs this weekend. In Tier 1, we rarely have more than 3 games in Tier 1. I've got 3 in Tier 1 this weekend as the season draws near a close. The Bills are at the Lions. This could be a Super Bowl Bowl preview here. The Bills allowed 44 to the Rams last week. They got to clean it up on defense. They also, on the other side, have scored 30 or more in 7 straight games. That is one shy of the longest streak in the history of the NFL. Lions give up some yards through the air. We'll see if Josh Allen can take advantage in Detroit. The Steelers are at the Eagles, a matchup of Pennsylvania. The Steelers with a win or a tie are in the playoffs. Saquon Barkley, he's on my fantasy team. We got to have him. He's averaging 23 points per game. We need 50 this week. 50 points is what I need from Saquon. I don't know if that's possible against the Steelers. And last one in Tier 1, the Packers are at the Seahawks. The Packers haven't lost outside of their division since week 1 this season. That division is really, really good. We know the Lions are great. We understand it's been a pretty good go for Sam Darnold and the Vikings. And the Packers are really good as well, and it shows they hadn't lost outside the division since week 1. That is your look around the National Football League. Boys, I want to get your thoughts on a few things. Jordan, your thoughts on Bills at Lions. Could we see that one again at the end of the season?
For like fantasy football wise?
No, for the Super Bowl, not for the end of the season.
I mean, because I was more on the fantasy football thing with the Saquon, so I was like, you lucky you got Saquon.
That's right.
I was hating points. a little bit. I was like,
Baton Rouge's Eeyore, thanks to the folks at Tiger Droppings for naming my fantasy team. They thought it was Baton Rouge's Eeyore. That's now the fantasy team. We got Saquon. We get in the playoffs. That's how it goes.
But to talk about the Bills
and Lions?
You know what? I'm going to sound like a hater. I'm not all the way bought into the Lions. No, they're great. They're great. Don't get me wrong. They are elite. They are great.
You on Philly? I mean,
San Francisco. Not on Philly just yet. They're great to watch. They're fun to watch, especially if Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're fun. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you're still kind of the Lions. They're the new Lions, but you're still the Lions.
Okay, so who we got in the NFC?
So coming out the NFC, I hate to say it, but I might have to go with the Birds. I might have to go Philly. I hate to say it.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Philly's good. They're playing great.
I just hate everything about Philly.
Got to run the ball with Saquon. Beck, is that going to be the Super Bowl preview, Bills-Lions?
Yeah, I think so.
If that is the Super Bowl, sign me up.
Yeah,
I love defense. I really love pitching and defense in baseball. I like defense in football. I love it when LSU's got a defense. They're like hand the ball off and guy just gets smacked. That's great stuff, getting sacks and all that. And I like defense. But if Bills and Lions are probably going to play a Super Bowl that's like 35-25, 25-28, that sounds fun to me.
Yeah, and I would like to point out I was on the Bills.
You were on the Bills?
Before the season started. I said that they were still going to be really good. They lost some guys, but Josh Allen's still an MVP, playing at MVP level, and he has this year. So
I lost one of my favorite stats last week in this NFL rundown that we do every week. It was Aaron Rodgers not throwing for 300 yards and like 39 straight or whatever it was. He did it last week. Yeah. And the Jags really...
They still stink, though.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're 3-10. I mean, that's not very good. Okay, this is the last point, and this is the people that are listening really, really want y'all's opinion on this. They're really fired up to hear your answer on this. They want to hear exactly what you have to say. Does my fantasy team have any shot playing against Derrick Henry against the Giants?
It depends.
Yes, you do.
What does it depend on?
It depends on who else does he have.
I don't care. Derrick Henry might score 70. The Giants, unless they're playing the Saints, are the worst run defense in the NFL. I hate to, Derrick Henry's got a lot of cash in the bank. If he tweaks an ankle in the second quarter, I'm probably not going to cry about it.
Come on, man.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Derrick Henry recently just cut his dreads, so his powers, like Samson, might be zapped away.
It may be zapped, for sure.
I'm about to say it might be zapped.
Or he may have become more aerodynamic without the dreads that are going.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have hoped for injury. That may have been the death knell.
That's a low. That's a low for you. Even for you, it's a low.
That was bad. I feel bad about it.
But you know what you should feel good about, Hunt?
What's that?
The Cubs have acquired Kyle Tucker.
Oh, we like that. We'll talk about it in the break so the people don't have to hear it on the air. Let's go to break. I'm fired up. I don't know what we're going to talk about to end the hour, but I got Kyle Tucker. We'll figure something out in 3 minutes.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
But first, let me tell you about Boudreaux's Electrical. Kyle Tucker, we'd love to see that. Boudreaux's Electrical gives you peace of mind like Kyle Tucker gives me peace of mind. You can get a Generac home standby generator for your home. I get a left-handed hitting power hitter in Wrigley Field. Boudreaux's Electrical, they've been rocking and rolling for 40 years down there in Napoleonville, and they can give you the peace of mind to know that the power's not going to go out on you. Kyle Tucker's got power. You can have power with the generator from Boudreaux's Electrical Services. No VIP memberships, no additional fees. They're just going to treat you like you matter, like you're a quality customer, because that's what they've been doing for 40 years. Hurricane season is always right around the corner. Give yourself the peace of mind to know the power's not going to go out on you. Give them a call at 985-397-1562. Again, that's 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. 225-300-9389. I give you the easy way every single week. BoudreauxElectrical.com. BoudreauxElectrical.com.
Need New Year's Eve plans?
Revelry Ball.
Do you love great food and an open bar?
Revelry Ball.
Looking for live music from David St. Remain?
Revelry Ball.
Chris LeBlanc?
Revelry Ball.
The Eddie Smith Band?
Revelry Ball.
And a DJ from 11 to 1 a.m.?
Revelry Ball.
Get your tickets for a New Year's Eve ball that has it all. The Revelry Ball at revelryball.com. That's revelryball.com for an incredible New Year's Eve party that's also a fundraiser for our veterans. That's revelryball.com now.
It's holiday time at the Thibodeau store, and they've got gifts for everybody on your list. McWare and Lodge cookware, cast iron pots, roll-around combos for all cooks, tools and garden supplies for the home expert. And for those of us who like to kick back and soak in all of the Christmas magic, sit back and relax in the beautiful quality-made Cypress furniture, swings, rockers, and gliders. Top-notch tools, gifts, and expert advice, the Thibodeau store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, and online, it's thibodeaustore.com.
If you're a small business owner, you've probably noticed how the big banks like to force you into one-size-fits-all financial service products. At Neighbors Federal Credit Union, we've created a suite of flexible commercial checking accounts designed to fit the specific needs of your local business. And with 9 full-service locations throughout Greater Baton Rouge, we're always just around the corner. We're a local small business looking out for other local small businesses. Learn more about Neighbors commercial checking accounts by visiting neighborsfcu.org. Neighbors Federal Credit Union. We're here for you. Insured by NCUA.
Ever wonder how Santa became Santa Claus?
Hello, I'm Paul Groves, General Director of Opera Louisiana, and I'd like to invite you to our remarkable family Christmas story, Becoming Santa Claus. We have an extraordinary cast and directing team to bring our magical show to the Manship Theater December 20th and 21st. We'll have Christmas crafts for the kids before the show, planned to be early. December 20th and 21st at the Manship Theater in downtown Baton Rouge. Please visit operalouisiana.com for your tickets. See you there.
Water is water, right? Not when it's Evermore. Smooth-tasting Evermore water is Mother Nature's masterpiece. Evermore is natural artesian water. Maybe you want a healthier lifestyle, a high-end athlete who wants better hydration, or a parent who wants something healthier for their kids. You want Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore. Available at great local retailers.
You feeling a little crabby? Why don't you head into Hooters for the best legs in town? Hooters snow crab legs. They're guaranteed to make you happy. Wild caught, steamed to perfection, and served with a side of butter, Hooters crab legs are nearly as world famous as the wings. And for a limited time, they're just $19.99 per pound. All day, every day. That's right. $19.99 a pound for delicious, tender snow crab legs. So hurry into Hooters to catch this offer while it lasts. Hooters, the best legs in town since 1983.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Shutting things down here, hour 1 of a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Remind you about that menu over at Corks. It's awesome. Crispy, clean, fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp. The recipe born right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. If you've got a Christmas party for the office coming up next week, if you've got a ton of family coming in, maybe a couple nights before Christmas and want to feed a whole crew, Corks is awesome at catering, and they're happy to help you out. They've got an entire catering menu on the website. You can check it out, corksfishandshrimp.com. It's got pricing for the Corks Party Pack that serves 10 or more. They've got the seafood and salad buffet. They can do a pork chop buffet for sure as well. They also just can do pans, 25 fish, 50 shrimp. They've got crawfish etouffee, the crispy shoestring fries, hush puppies, honey butter rolls, and all your sauces. Cork sauce, which is I'm partial to. It's got great flavor and a little bit of kick to it. Tartar sauce, cocktail sauce, remoulade sauce, ketchup, your standards, but the cork sauce, always my favorite. Stop on by. They're at Government, just between Foster and Jefferson, and happy to help you out with all of your holiday catering needs. Maybe your whole office just hit a huge number for a bonus and you want to feed the whole crew at year-end. Cork's thrilled to help you out with all of that. Give them a call. Tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there to Cork's. CorksFishandShrimp.com is where you can find that menu. All right, the Heisman's going to be awarded tomorrow, and I'll be honest, Beck, I kind of tuned all this out like a week ago when they took the odds off the board, and I've just been under the complete assumption that Travis Hunter had this in a headlock, and it appears that Ashton Jeanty has kind of made a push here. I still believe this is Travis Hunter's award. I don't know if I have a firm stance on who should win it. I feel like if I was voting, I would vote for Travis Hunter because we haven't really seen anyone do the things that he did, and he did it at a touch of a higher level than Ashton Jeanty. Notice I'm supposed to say Power 4, will not say Power 4. Based on that conference, I don't believe it deserves a Power 4 moniker in this sport. I'm going to use it for LSU when they play the Big 12 in basketball because it's a great basketball league. It's not a good football league relative to the SEC and ACC, but it is compared to the Mountain West. He's catching touchdowns. He's breaking passes up. He's picking the ball off. He's making highlight reel plays. I think he probably deserves it, but I'm curious now a little bit if Ashton Jeanty can backdoor his way into some consideration here.
Yeah, I think he can, and they had all the other awards last night that were given out, and Hunter won the Bednarik and the Blendikoff.
He didn't win the Thorpe.
It was interesting, but still
the Thorpe is questionable. I'll just go ahead and say this.
Yeah.
We all know the LSU situation with the Thorpe where Grant Delpit won it in 2019, and he was way better in 2018 than he was in 19.
But that's how a lot of awards go. A lot of awards are like a guy has an incredible season, and then the next year he's got
lifetime achievement
it's like
award.
a hype thing.
So the Thorpe's got some issues, I think. But I'm just I'm a little bit more intrigued, I guess I should say. I'm glad that Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward are going because I think they both deserve it. We watched a lot in Cam Ward this year that we saw from Jaden Daniels last year where he had to do everything because his defense couldn't stop anyone ever. And Cam Ward kept Miami in a lot of football games and did an incredible job in doing that. But I don't think he clearly has done enough to secure the trophy. I'm looking at ESPN Bet's app, and I don't see anything for the Heisman. So that suggests it's still off the grid, and you're going to see, in my opinion, Travis Hunter's going to win it. That's the thought. But is that who you would have voted for?
I don't know, man. It's really tight. Ashton Jeanty will end up having at least the second best rushing season in college football history. He's 90 yards behind Melvin Gordon, who's in second place. He'll have a chance to catch Barry Sanders. He's a couple hundred yards off of Barry Sanders. He'll have at least one game, if not two, if they win their first one. And he could possibly break the all-time rushing record. Of course, he'll do it in a lot more games. But still, it's I don't know, man. We haven't really seen a running back like Ashton Jeanty in some time. Maybe the last time was probably probably either that or Derrick Henry had a great season in Alabama. But what Travis Hunter did, obviously, like you said, we haven't seen that, and we haven't seen that maybe ever. Honestly,
really, honestly, Charles Woodson was not an offensive player. They gave him some snaps.
Yeah.
But Travis Hunter just did both. That's crazy to me. And I will say this: I'm man enough to do this. Much respect to me, props to me, pat myself on the back here.
Sure.
I don't respect Boise State's schedule at all. I think it's pathetic, and I think the fact that they're in the playoff is a joke. I think the fact that they're a 3 seed is even more of a joke. That said, I'm impressed with Boise State's ability to field good football teams. Like, it's in Idaho, and they consistently are good. They hire the next coach that's good. Their coach gets poached. They hire the next guy that's pretty good. He gets poached. They hire the next guy. They've just been pretty good for like 2 decades, and I respect that. I don't respect their schedule. I respect their ability to stay good for a long time in that given sport.
Respective of every team's schedule. Just the mere fact that they have been as consistent as they are is pretty impressive.
I especially where they are. Like I understand why some of the teams in the Sun Belt area have sustained some solid play because you're in a talent-rich area. Ain't a lot of fertile recruiting in Idaho.
Well, yeah, the same thing for like the North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Like, how are they getting guys? Even though it's FCS
gotta be
level,
good coaching.
They just has to be good coaching.
But it's so easy to get that coach out of there, and then you hire the next guy, and he's not any good, and poof, it vanishes. And Boise's just never really vanished.
They haven't.
I'm impressed. That's good stuff.
I don't think. I think we can assume Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward have no chance.
That is correct.
They're just there. You know, they have to fill out the 4-man. Is it always four? Is it always 4 guys finalists?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
the
either
answer.
way, I guess
I want to say there's been a year where there's 3. There's probably a vote threshold that you've got to get.
Yeah, probably.
And I don't know who else they would have had.
I don't know
this year. I mean, there's nobody really from the cream of the crop.
No receivers.
Teams.
No. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's definitely between those two. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty close.
I think Hunter will win it.
Probably.
I thought the line was going to pop back. I've seen a lot of like buzz on my Twitter feed and stuff that Genty's kind of making some.
It could just be smoke, people trying to drum up the interest. Yeah.
Oh well, free trip to New York for Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward. They'll have some fun with. They don't have any pressure. Not gonna have to give a speech or anything. Just go up there and put a suit on.
Although,
smile, look good.
Even Dylan, if he, I think he probably
the Hunt Palmer Show.
We didn't really pay attention to the end of the hour there. AVSS Audio Video Security Solutions. If you want to watch the Heisman ceremony, you can do so on your television. But if you didn't have the folks at Audio Video Security Solutions come in, help you with that television, and put your surround sound system in, I mean, what are you even doing? Christmas is around the corner. If you'd like to have something like that done, especially to your outdoor area, spring will be around the corner. I know a lot of folks love to sit outside and listen to some LSU baseball, watch some LSU baseball. If that's something that you'd like to do moving forward, coming February, March, April, have the folks at Audio Video Security Solutions come in and put some speakers in or television in outside for you. They do whole home audio. They do TV installation. They also do video surveillance for your security system. Give Mitchell Fisher a call. His cell, 225-439-7920. Again, 225-439-7920. You can always find my friends at Audio Video Security Solutions online at avssla.com. That's avssla.com.